Rated M for mature.
Well, personally, before I go into a multiplayer match, I feel a sense of a tremendous rush because I want to crush my coworkers and hear them crying underneath my thumbs, and there's no greater satisfaction than
To go take Gears 1 multiplayer as a base and then improve on it, we had to look at a number of different things, and one of them was just sort of things like basic mobility. In Gears 1, when you went down but not out, you couldn't crawl, you couldn't get to safety, like so if you stuck out and got shot, you were left out. And so that was a big one for us. One of the first changes we made was the ability to actually crawl and try to crawl to your friends to get revived or to back up and behind cover so you couldn't get shot anymore.
I think the first Gears helped break that typical run-and-gun mentality that a lot of shooters have had for years, as well as having players jumping on each other's heads like a bunch of cracked-out bunny rabbits.
One of the big design goals for the changes that we did for Gears 2, particularly with multiplayer, was to realign how people were playing online to how we originally intended Gears 1 to be played.
Gears 1, when we released the game out to the world, it took a life of its own, obviously. And one of the things we found was that people like to do this evade shotgun technique of being able to go towards somebody really fast and roll towards them and then pop up and shoot them with a shotgun, which was really effective, too effective, in fact. And so what we've introduced is this idea of stopping power, which is that as you're being shot with bullets, it actually slows you down. It's kind of like as if you were running against a fire hose.
I think if you're ever playing a versus multiplayer game, a good aspect of that experience is psychological warfare.
Usually my trash talk is just repeating my favorite lines from the game itself, whether it's Hoffman going, "Eat boot!" or, Dom saying, "Sup, bitches!"
I like to talk trash to random people. When I drive by people in my car, I call them douche nozzles.
Cliff has this whole douche nozzle thing, which I don't even understand to begin with.
My license plate says D-nozzle. No, it doesn't. Going in and playing a match, if, for example, in Wingman, and then jumping over to Guardian, and then playing 5-player co-op in Horde, or going back to the campaign, I really don't think people are ever going to get bored with the sheer amount of variety we have this time around. Well, whenever we make multiplayer game types for Gears, we always say, what is our own unique twist on this formula? And the whole submission/meat flag twist of taking a person hostage and bringing them to a predefined location is kind of our take on the capture the flag formula.
But it was this idea of having a living flag that had a shotgun shooting both sides. So you had to run out, and first you had to down him, then you had to pick him up, and then you had to drag him back to your base or to a particular objective.
Horde is a 5-player cooperative mode for Gears in which players deal with wave after wave of increasingly difficult Locust. It starts off kind of simple with some basic Locust, and before you know it, you see the biggest, nastiest bastards coming in bearing down on you. And it's a lot of fun to team up and try and get the highest score possible, put that on a leaderboard in Xbox Live and just play co-op with your buddies till the wee hours.
Horde, in theory, has an ending. I'm not seeing it.
As a designer, I found never underestimate the talent of the gamers out there who will be playing your game. Gamers out there are going to hit the highest wave on Insane at some point, and I want to see videos on the internet showing this off as soon as it happens.
I'd have to say Guardian now is my favorite game mode. Guardian was it's a reimagining of Assassination, this idea of having a leader and guards for him. And with the respawn game mechanic now, we had this idea that you have to keep the leader alive, and if you do, then you get to keep respawning, that you have infinite lives. But as soon as your leader dies, then the next time you die, you're out.
One of the new multiplayer maps that I'm a huge fan of is River. With River, there's a lot of really specific combat that's thought out and tactical ahead of time. It's not a lot of just random shooting.
One of my favorite maps is this map called Avalanche, which is appropriately named because it's a little quaint mountain hamlet, and completely randomly and periodically an avalanche will come through. And anybody who's in the path of the snow will get wiped out. But the beauty of this is that suddenly other areas of the level are available to walk to, whereas they weren't before. Other guns can be accessed now. And you have a battlefield that actually shifts dynamically depending on an X factor of the avalanche coming in.
This time around, Gears 2 multiplayer achievements are easier to get. We took off a lot of the restrictions that we had in Gears 1.
You can basically get all your achievements for your kills in the campaign. You can get them in co-op, you can get them in horde, and you can get them in versus. So we want players getting those points, we want them getting those achievements, and we want them wielding their nerd cred as much as possible.
Achievement design is sort of it's actually a little bit of art and a lot of, a little bit of science. There's the cheese and the maze is that the most goes towards. It's that if you don't know anything about the game and you're not reading the manual and you're just jumping in, a lot of people will still check the achievements. And so if I tell you, hey, there's this thing called a ticker, and if you melee it 30 times, we'll give you something. They're like, you can melee tickers? Oh, okay, I guess I'll go try that.
It seems like with every product, whenever Rod names the achievements, it's a competition to see what the goofiest, most punniest names are that we come up with.
I kind of go through and come up with weird random names, generally, 80s movie references because I'm old, and as much double entendre as I can get away with Microsoft.
I'm a big fan of Dirty, Dirty Horde, as well as Crossed Swords, which is achievement for numerous chainsaw duels, which is clearly an allusion to ancient warriors battling with their large iron swords. I think the hardest achievement is the continuation of Seriously. In Gears 1, it was just Seriously, it was like 10,000 kills online. Like, really? Like, how long is this going to take you guys? And in Gears 2, we have 100,000 kills, which is Seriously 2.0, which we could have just called Seriously or...
I can smell him from here. Oh, yeah.